Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of the Linda Ugweno Political Show. In this show, we train aspirants on politics and political processes in Kenya, hoping that we'll be able to bring better governance to Kenya. This show is guided by biblical principles. Allow me, before I let you know what we are going to discuss in this episode today, to appreciate Women United for Our Future for their continuous and unwavering support towards the production of this particular show. And so, yes, if you're going to be an aspirant, you want to consider having a campaign manifesto. Yes. So, what is a campaign manifesto? This is a document that just lets people know who you are. It's also going to let people know why you're vying, why they should vote for you. It's also going to let people know what are the things that you're going to do and how you are going to do them. So it just more or less speaks about your vision, and you may want to be detailed, or you can just also have a summarized version of this particular document. Some people go ahead and just also put down the nitty gritties of for what you want to do, maybe in the next 100 days, in the first 100 days, these are the things I'm going to do. Some people go ahead and even say how they're going to do it, how they're going to get this funding. So the details of the particular manifesto, they vary from one aspirant to another, or from one political party to another. But you have to speak about your priority areas. You also have to speak about your core values, maybe integrity, inclusivity, equity, things like that. And of course, because it's something that says who you are, make sure you put something about your vision statement. That is definitely relative. So you want to think about that and put it there. But now, if you're just to discuss campaign manifesto very broadly, I've already said what it is. You may want to have a catchy word for defining your manifesto. Maybe you just don't want to call it Lindo Bueno Manifesto. For example, and the example I'm giving, I'm not holding brief for any political party. It's just for the sake of learning and giving an example. You find that there was the manifesto that was called the plan. So once you hear of the plan already, it's informing your decision, and it's guiding your thinking in a certain direction. So you may want to think of a catchy word to call your manifesto, but you can just also call it just your manifesto. So a manifesto, more or less, is a bridge between you and the people, and you want to think about the manifesto also beyond the campaign period, because after you win elections, voters are going to use this document to hold you accountable to the promises that you made. Okay, so when you're drafting it, think beyond that. So how do you start drafting your manifesto? First, you have to do a research, and find out what are the needs of the people. Please do not assume that you know the needs of the people. Take your time to actually find out these. Maybe you have lived in a certain area for a certain period of time, and you're averse with some of their challenges. But if you go an extra mile and again also ask them, you will find that you have extra knowledge and new knowledge that you're going to add to what you already know. You can go ahead and ask people, or designate people to do this on your behalf, maybe the data assistants, so that they go and collect this information. But please also merge it with your own grassroots experience. As you'll be going door to door, you definitely will be getting feedback, and just so take this feedback and merge it with whatever you found from the professional people that you hired to do this, and combine it together. So you'll find that most campaign manifestos do not come at the beginning of a campaign. Sometimes mostly they come in the middle or towards the end of a campaign, because, as I've said, it is a culmination of the experience that you have had. So take it, combine it together, and just form that. Methods by which you can do this research: you can have community barazas, you can have FDGs, that is focus group discussion, you can have surveys, you can have household visits, online polls, and consultation with sector experts. You can also do desktop review. All that is just part of research. As I've said, you can have the input of professional people as data researchers. They can also data analyze for you and just put it in a very professional way. Again, you want to test it. So when you're drafting your manifesto, you can have a few copies, like doing like a pilot, a few copies, then just give it to people and then get feedback. Then the feedback from that, you can now use it to improve and make the final draft. It's also a living document, so you may have to be changing one or two things here and there, or just maybe including one or two things here and there. You want to talk about inclusivity, so when you're doing your research, please make sure you ask everybody: the youth, the women, the PWDs, the religious people, business people. uh, Ask everybody and just do a research from everybody. Do not underestimate any particular or ignore any particular sector. You may find that a challenge, all challenges have solutions, and you'll find that where you are likely to get a solution is in the most unlikely of places. So just don't underestimate any particular group or any particular person. So once you have found this, you want to break it down to different groups and sectors. For example, there are the teachers, there are the women, there's the agriculture sector, the health sector. So you want to segregate this information in terms of those particular sectors. For example, let's say if you take an example of education, you'll find that even when it comes to education itself, your entire region may not have the same problem. So let's say in region A, which is within the area that you're vying, you'll find that maybe a bridge is the issue. Children are not able to use that bridge to access a school. And when you go to area B, which is still within the area that you're vying, you find that maybe lack of teachers is the challenge that they have. And so all of them fall within the education sector, but they are not the same needs. So that I'm just paraphrasing on the importance of just doing this research and not assuming. But back to the point where you need to segregate it in terms of the different sectors. Now, once you have done it like that, you can come up with pillars. You may not be able to address all the challenges, but you can have the pillars, the core pillars that are directing you. So maybe once you have a pillar one, then under pillar one you list down the things that fall within pillar one. For those who may want a document to reference, Vision 2030 is a nice example that you can use to just check how they manage to do that, and you can be able to just copy that and use it in your own manifesto. But for the sake of this episode, we will put a link in the description for you to be able to see, and that will make you will have you be informed and guided. You want to align your manifesto to your role. So, for example, if you're vying as an MCA, you need to know what is the role of an MCA. The role of an MCA is to oversight, to represent, and legislate. MCAs do not make roads, for example. So, you cannot say in your campaign manifesto that you're going to make a particular road, but what you can say is you can pass policies once you're elected that will see into it that the roads are made at to standard, not like a carpet layer, but to standard. And if contractors do not do that which is assigned to them, that there are consequences. I'm just giving an example. So know your role and let your manifesto speak to the role of the that you're campaigning for. You also want to align it with your political party or your coalition. You find that if you're going to vie through a political party, your political party has its own manifesto. So you, as somebody who's vying within the political party, you want to pick excerpts from that political party manifesto and also relate it with theirs. You can also go ahead and pick colors, so that the theme colors are aligned and are the same. Sometimes your political party is also a member of a coalition, and that coalition also has its manifesto. So you want to pick from that, and it's very important that you get to know these things at your fingerprints, at your fingertips, sorry, so that when you'll be campaigning at the grassroots, people will definitely ask you questions about your political party and your coalition. So these are things you want to be on your fingerprints. Again, you also want to align your manifesto to that of another political another position with that is within your political party. What do I mean? Let's say you're vying as an MCA and there's somebody who's vying as a governor. Definitely as an MCA, you will have to work with that governor. And if you're in a political party, maybe you're vying as a team within that political party. So you want to look at this governor that I'm going to work with. What are the things that they're passionate about? And definitely that governor in their manifesto, they have something that they have spoken about concerning that particular ward that you're vying for. So whatever that they want to do in that particular ward, is it aligning to you as somebody who's vying in that ward and who is vying within the political party? So you also want to read theirs and make sure it is aligning so that you're speaking as one team. When it comes to the presentation and design, please use photos. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So try and use photos, and use photos that they describe as photos that speak. Okay. So maybe in the first page, you can use your profile photo, but in these other pages, you want to use photos that are showing you maybe actively doing something, maybe that you are donating something, you're part of another activity somewhere. Photos that can just show you in action doing something, and photos are appealing. Use bright colors. You want to seek consent of the people that you're going to use their photos. Just don't assume because you're in a function and you took a photo, then now you can take that photo and use it. Seek their consent so that you don't get yourself in legal trouble. And don't assume because people are part of your family, then now you can just use it. Also seek consent from your own family members if you can use their photos. You want to use professional editing. They can edit the photos. They can also just proofread the grammar and clarity and flow of your document. And yeah, I know sometimes you may assign that responsibility to somebody else, but you as a candidate, the onus is on you to take this particular document and read it for yourself, comb it through, and make sure all your i's are dotted and all your t's are crossed. Again, you want to use colors. I've already talked about. You can use the party colors to show your loyalty and just to align that. Again, you want to use simple language and avoid jargon, because your manifesto will be read by anyone and everyone. You want even the other members of the community to be able to read it, comprehend it, you know and if you can even go ahead and translate it in vernacular language, just go ahead and do that. You want to have maybe a full manifesto. That's a very big document. You can also consider extrapolating a smaller and summarized version, so you can have leaflets and flyers that are very easy to give out. You also want to have your manifesto in soft copies so that people can distribute within the WhatsApp groups and just taking care of that. If you're going to do that, make sure you put in added features like security features, so that when you're using the online feature, somebody does not take your document and maybe just try and edit it and do that, but just put that at the back of your mind. You also want to be very realistic when you're coming up with your campaign manifestos. Do not overpromise. Bring things that are just out of the moon. Just be realistic with whatever you are assuring your people that you're going to do. Again, you want to align your manifesto with the constitution of Kenya. There are laws that are governing the land. There's the constitution of Kenya, so you want to the promises that you're making to people, they should be aligned. What is the constitution talking about as far as PWDs are concerned? So if you're going to say something, make sure it is also aligning to that, and you're not just coming at things from the area. If you're coming from a particular county, you also want to know the county rules that are already there and the laws that have already been set up there, so that whatever you're saying is aligning with already the laws that are existing. Again, if you are somebody who is seeking re-election, you want to mention some of the things that you have done. I have managed to do ABCD, and therefore I am asking for another chance to be re-elected. But even if not, you're coming in for the first time, there has to be something, or maybe there's something you have already done for that area. Please just speak to it. This will just help people know why they should be able to vote for you. Sometimes you may find you have signed an MOU with a certain sector, maybe with the women caucus, you have signed an MOU. You may want to put that MOU as an appendix to your in your manifesto, but you find that most politicians avoid this because they don't want to be held accountable. Most politicians just sign these things for the sake of it, and once they win elections and it's their turn, they renege on what they had promised. But that is not good political practice. Be accountable for what you say and what you sign. When you promise people, make sure when you get in, adhere to it and honor the promises that you made. Again, you want to think about distribution. Come up with very creative ways of distributing your manifesto. Just don't give it to anybody. Not everybody is going to read it, and just don't give out all the copies at once so that you run out of copies. You want to stagger out how you're giving it. And when you're giving it also, as I've said, be very creative. For example, I think I'd mentioned this in one of our previous episodes. And please remember to watch the other episodes of Lindo Bueno Political Show. I'd mentioned that you can take your flyer from your manifesto, and put it inside newspapers. So you can talk to somebody who's selling newspapers, and then he puts it inside newspapers. So when he's selling the newspapers, when people are buying the newspapers, they'll find your flyer there and they're able to know it. But even when you're going to market or standing at by roadsides by giving it, just make sure you're being very targeted when you're giving it out, and you're just not giving it out to anybody. Now, once you have your campaign manifesto, anywhere you'll be going to buy, make sure you have copies of your campaign manifesto. And all the messages that will be going out will be anchored from your manifesto. It will be the epicenter that now drives everything. Everything has to come back and relate to that particular manifesto. Again, you want, when they're designing it, please make sure you have a soft copy. Sometimes you find that graphic designers do not want to give you that soft copy. Please have it so that in case you need to print more copies, you're able to do that regardless of where you are. Because politics, you're traveling a lot, so you may find yourself to need extra copies in certain place. If you have a soft copy, easily you can go and print it and just be able to have it. you want to think about launching your campaign manifesto. Have an event, called media, hype it, call speakers, people who are coming to speak about in your campaign manifesto, so that it's this big thing and people are looking forward to just reading your manifesto. When you're inviting leaders, you don't have to necessarily invite other political leaders. Of course, they're part of the people that you will invite, but also have some speakers who within the society people are looking forward to listen to them. So as people will be coming to attend this function, they'll be coming to listen to that speaker that maybe on an ordinary day they may not be able to have access to. So as they're coming to listen to this speaker, so it's also working for you. You'll also give them your manifesto, and they're able to read it. Remember, have a digital strategy: Facebook, Twitter, bloggers, people who are just going to push your manifesto and excerpts of it out there. I've already talked about professionalism, and you also being able to read your manifesto and making sure it is aligned to yourself and your candidate as a person. Again, you want to use it in all the forums that you're going to be there. In conclusion, what I want to say is that your on the last page of when you're concluding your manifesto, make sure there's something inspirational and also a call to action. How can people support you, apart from going out to vote? There are people who may want to be part and parcel of your campaign. So if in case of maybe volunteers, there should be a contact there, how they're able to reach you, how they're able to plug in. Should it be other organizations that want to reach you, they should be able to have all your contacts and even that of your office and your team. How are people able to know you? Peradventure, you have donors who want to their logos to show in that manifesto, then you can use the last page to just put there. Or if you're coalition partners, then you can just show that this is a coalition of this. You can put their logos in that particular place. So remember, as I've said in the introduction, campaign manifesto will also be used after your election. So it is going to be your contact with the people. So citizens are going to track the progress against the promises that you already made. So use it as a reference in terms when you'll be going to meet barazas and all that. So make sure that you know your campaign manifesto very well. And just as I've said, don't assume. I've seen a manifesto of somebody who was prominent but had some errors. I'm very sure he didn't take time to just go through his own manifesto before it came out. So some tips I can say is use storytelling. Storytelling works, so you can add a bit of that in the manifesto. That works very well. Again, you want to use data, live data and real data. Like 30% of youths are not employed. So to speak about something that is very, 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 very real. And I already talked about, make it use photos, make it as bright, as colorful as it can be. So as we come to the end of this particular episode, I want to read for you the words from Habakkuk 2:2 that says, "Write down the revelation and make it plain on tablets, so that a herald may run with it. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end, and it will not prove fake. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come, and it will not delay." This is to say that write your manifesto down. If you have a vision, write it down. You can keep referencing it. If you write in the last election, look at the ones you had. If you want to tweak it a bit, you can tweak it a bit, but write it down. The good book guarantees us that once you write it down, you are able to run with it, and it will be able to come to pass. So I want to appreciate you for watching Linda Bueno Political Show. For those who have not liked, subscribed, and shared with other people, please remember to do that. And be on the lookout for the next episode of the Linda Bueno Political Show. Bye-bye.